Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94, and back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to biggest bust in WWE history. Without further ado, man, let's get right into it, man. The biggest bust in WWE history. Off rip, if I had to say a big bust in WWE, what's that nigga name? Sin Cara. Sin Cara was the biggest bust. They overhyped that nigga, and that nigga sucked ass. Sin Cara was the fucking worst. But anyways, though, without further ado, let's get right into it.
The biggest busts in WWE history. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Number 1, Giant Gonzalez. Remember The Undertaker's favorite WrestleMania opponent? Well, believe it or not, but Giant Gonzalez had a solid career before joining the company in 1993.
Well, to be fair, WWE gave him a terrible fucking gimmick to begin with.
He was a main staple in WCW that even feuded with Ric Flair for the WCW World Heavyweight title. But the problem with Giant Gonzalez was that he simply wasn't a good wrestler. However, it's been well known how much Vince McMahon values height and probably creamed his pants when he saw the near 8-foot beast. Gonzalez made his WWE debut in a big way by eliminating The Undertaker at 93's Royal Rumble. That led to a match between the two at WrestleMania 9, and it's considered to be one of the worst matches of all time. The Taker-Gonzalez feud lasted until SummerSlam, and then it was all downhill for the Giant. After playing Jobber to the Stars, Gonzalez was released the same year in October.
Damn.
It was clear that Vince wanted Gonzalez to be another Andre the Giant type monster, but Gonzalez's lack of wrestling ability was the biggest contribution to his downfall. Number 2, Taz. Taz's WWE career seemed so promising when he made his debut at the Royal.
Didn't injuries end Taz's career? I thought injuries ended Taz's career. I wouldn't call that a bust. I can't call you a bust if you was getting injured all the time. I really can't say that. Because if injuries happen, man. I can't really call you a bust. I just say unfortunate circumstances.
Rumble in Madison Square Garden. Seeing him and Kurt Angle in the same ring was unreal. Taz was at the peak of his career thanks to his legendary run in ECW. The former ECW World Champion had the skills and charisma to be a top WWE star, but Vince McMahon likely didn't see much value for Taz beyond mid-card. He quickly lost to Triple H on SmackDown, further cementing that he wasn't going to be nothing more than a mid-card wrestler.
Damn.
What ultimately killed Taz's career was the mounting injuries that put him in the commentary booth. However, Taz was never able to top his strong debut against Kurt Angle. The Olympic gold medalist shed some light on why Taz never reached a higher level in WWE.
I think the reason was Vince McMahon had this idea of Taz being a smaller guy and selling for the big guys and never giving up. And Taz had in his mind that he wanted to be a dominant wrestler and just beat everybody out dominantly. They didn't want him to be, he didn't want himself to be the underdog that was fighting from underneath. And I think that's the reason why they kind of ended Taz's career a little bit early, was because he had a different idea of what the creative had for him. And then they made him a commentary. So that was pretty much the end of Taz's career. I don't think he lasted that long after this.
In some ways, this makes sense. Taz was a believable badass in ECW because his in-ring prowess and size gave him that illusion. But when he came to WWE, he was no longer one of the big dogs in the yard. In theory, Vince's idea is sound as it still paints him as a badass, but in the role of an underdog. It's a shame that Taz's debut remains the most memorable part of his WWE career, but the fact that he didn't even get a run with the Intercontinental title is a crime against humanity. Number 3, Karma. Despite what WWE history would tell you, TNA Wrestling was the first promotion in North America.
Damn, Awesome Kong. Damn, what could have been in WWE? Had she not got pregnant, I think Awesome Kong would have did amazing in WWE. But she got pregnant, and Vince being Vince. That's why that nigga gone and Triple H is running shit.
To have a women's revolution. When the company introduced its knockout division in 2007, they had a diverse set of talented women on its roster, but Awesome Kong and Gail Kim made the world take notice by having one of the best women's feuds ever. Awesome Kong was an accomplished wrestler. She fought across the globe in Japan, Shimmer, and Ring of Honor, with TNA finally giving her the spotlight she deserved. When she finally signed with WWE in 2011, Awesome Kong represented hope that the company would finally take the women's division seriously. The creepy vignettes were simply perfect. Her character got over instantly and she stood out from all of the other women on the roster. Her debut was equally strong as she had the fans buzzing about what she would do next. Unfortunately, that all came crashing down when Karma was forced to disappear due to a pregnancy. It seemed that she was back on track when she made a return at the 2012 Royal Rumble match, but sadly she was released 6 months later. According to Kia Stevens herself, she wasn't mentally or physically prepared for a WWE run. The former TNA Knockouts champion had a miscarriage and never fully recovered from that traumatic experience.
Oh damn! I never knew that. I know she got pregnant, and then she came back, and then Vince was on some funny shit with her. But I didn't know she had a miscarriage. Oh damn! Oh no! Shout out to Awesome Kong. Shout out to Awesome Kong. Damn, I didn't know that.
TNA Knockouts champion felt that the release was a blessing in disguise.
I didn't know that.
To return to the company one day. Karma really could have been a difference maker, as Vince seemed to care about the character in the beginning. It's a shame that she never got another opportunity to prove how great she was to a wider audience. Number 4, Gail Kim. Speaking of the TNA Knockouts, the pioneer of the division was no stranger to WWE. Kim made a Raw debut in 2002 and immediately won the WWE Women's Championship. Despite the cool Matrix-like entrance and her alliance with Molly Holly, her first stint in WWE was directionless because the company didn't seem to understand what to do with her. However, Kim was on WWE's radar thanks to her incredible feud with Awesome Kong.
What word?
She came back with some hype surrounding her name, but unfortunately for Kim, it was clear that WWE still didn't see her as a top star. She had some fun matches throughout her short stint,
you know what I
was
meant.
nothing compared to what she did in TNA. The former WWE Women's Champion was just another girl on the roster by the time 2011 because her character was non-existent.
You know I had no malice with that.
Had all the tools to elevate the division to new heights, but Vince didn't understand what made the former Knockouts champion work in TNA, nor did he ever put much effort into trying to give us something meaningful. Number 5, Austin Aries. Before Aries stepped foot in a WWE ring, he was touted as one of the best professional wrestlers on the indies.
See, Austin Aries, once again, I don't know if I can say. I don't know about Austin Aries though, because he did have some injuries that pretty much put him on the sidelines. But if there is one thing I will say about Austin Aries, he ruined his own career. Austin Aries screwed Austin Aries. That's a fact. He ruined his own career. But outside of that, though, injuries pretty much ended his career. But I don't know if I could call him a bust, because once he was reaching his potential, he got injured. So, and it was an eye injury. So I don't know about that.
However, it was his run in TNA that elevated his status as a possible WWE star. Despite his size,
I ain't had no malice with it.
He had mountains of charisma, his mic skills were off the charts, and he was a fantastic in-ring performer. This is a rarity for any wrestler to have, and he could have been the exception to Vince McMahon's height rule because the guy understands character and the psychology of wrestling. However, the only negative about Austin Aries was his backstage attitude. Rumors have always painted Aries as a pain in the ass backstage, and even former TNA World Heavyweight Champion admitted this in an interview with VOC Nation.
I'm sure I can be a pain in the ass because I have my own opinions. Those aren't always welcome in a high-pressure situation where they're just trying to dump out content. Again, I've used the analogy. They, for the most part, when you're hired there, they want you to be a line cook. I'm a gourmet chef. And so when I'm trying to, add some of my own ideas of how the recipe could be improved, they're like, hey, we're McDonald's. We sell 1 billion hamburgers.
Before his release in 2017, the company seemed to like him. He used his gift to the gab to get over on commentary, and his first pay-per-view match was at WrestleMania. But Aries ultimately did nothing in his WWE run. Rumors swirled that Aries was a much liked backstage because WWE officials hated his self-entitlement. Any chance of him returning was killed when he pulled that Bound for Glory stunt in 2018 following his match against Johnny Impact. He became blacklisted from most of the major wrestling companies after that moment. Unfortunately,
he screwed himself
was his own worst enemy. The guy had all the talent in the world, but his rumor behavior issues are the reason his career hit the ceiling. Number 6, DDP. Diamond Dallas Page's brief run will go down as one of the worst stints in company history. DDP was far from the greatest wrestler on the roster, but he was level.
Yeah, Vince screwed DDP. DDP got screwed by Vince. Oh, what could have been? What could have been?
Levels above Kevin Nash and Goldberg. More importantly, the guy had the it factor that he showcased during his time in WCW. He quickly rose from a lower card act to one of WCW's top babyfaces organically before he had an incredible on-screen presence. But for some reason, this hot babyface that could have been a draw for WWE was turned into a craze stalker in his debut. DDP himself admitted that he regrets the storyline, which was actually...
That was a terrible... Ah. Fuck Vince. That's all I'm gonna say is fuck Vince, man. That was a terrible storyline. Who said that one was a good idea? That was a terrible storyline.
Actually pitched to Stone Cold Steve Austin beforehand. Page was buried throughout the story, and he was even pinned by The Undertaker's wife. The former 3-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion was treated as a complete joke, and it didn't get better when the company tried to change his gimmick into a motivational speaker. It wasn't as bad as the Stalker storyline, but DDP never gained any momentum before he was stuck with terrible stories that resulted in him jobbing to the stars. DDP was a shell of his former self, which was no fault of his own. His career may not have lasted long, but there were no signs that WWE were going to book him better. Number 7, Scott Steiner.
Big Papa
I think it's
Pump.
safe to say that most of the WCW stars in WWE flopped hard. Unlike DDP, WWE treated Steiner as a main event star when he first arrived in 2002. Steiner had everything Vince McMahon wanted in a wrestler:
Big Roy.
a great physique, strong promo skills, and a decent in-ring worker. His time was memorable in WCW because he felt unique from the entire roster. He had an incredible run with his brother Rick as a tag team champion, but Steiner going solo as Big Papa Pump is what turned him into a main eventer. He was an obnoxious asshole who could beat you up and steal your girl. Unfortunately, WWE didn't get this memo. He was brought in as a bland babyface instead of the charismatic heel character that got over in WCW. It didn't help that Steiner had 2 terrible matches against Triple H. His performance killed his dreams of main eventing again since he plummeted down to the lower card immediately. Steiner's failure in WWE can be attributed to both creative and the man himself. He never showed Vince why he belonged in the main event, but he didn't give him many opportunities to do so either. Number 8, Sting. Out of all the WCW legends, Sting's run in the company is easily the most disappointing. Sting represented the best parts of WCW, and it could be argued that he wasted his best years in TNA, but the short period that Sting had in WWE wasn't a positive indication that he would have been better served under Vince McMahon's creative genius. There was a huge excitement over Sting's shocking debut at Survivor Series, but all of Sting's aura was killed when he jobbed in his very first WWE match. The second match wasn't any better, and the career-threatening...
That wasn't the match we wanted. We didn't want Triple H versus Sting. We wanted Undertaker versus Sting. Now, I understand Undertaker's old. He was kind of out his prime, but you can say the same thing for Sting, but still, that would have been a hell of a match. That's the match we always wanted. But Vince never gives us nice things.
Injury had nothing to do with the lackluster build between Rollins and Sting. Though no one expected the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion to pull out classics at this stage of his career, Sting felt like just another guy on the roster. His career may have been cut short based on a freak accident, but he didn't feel like an icon at any point in his brief WWE stint. Number 9, Lex Luger. $1 million body doesn't equal a successful career. When you hear about Lex Luger, he's considered a legend in this business. He made a splash in NWA and WCW mainly because of his perfect body, but that isn't to say that Luger wasn't a solid performer. He certainly got over thanks to his time in the Four Horsemen, and his reign as WCW World Heavyweight Champion helped increase his popularity. So what exactly happened? Well, unlike many other names on this list, WWE tried their damned hardest to push Luger as the next big thing. They pushed him as the narcissist, with the gimmick being that Luger would pose in front of a mirror in every match. Luger had the looks to pull off the gimmick, but his charisma paled in comparison to what a main event star should be. And then Hulk Hogan left WWE in '93. Vince McMahon needed a new face of the company, and instead of going with a guy like Bret Hart or The Undertaker, he chose Luger. Luger dropped the narcissist act and became Mr. All-American, but that only damaged him further. Hogan was by no means a fantastic wrestler either, but the guy had personality and charisma. Subtract 95% of that and you get Lex Luger. It was clear that the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion was a cheap replacement for Hulkamania. Vince wisely opted not to put the belt on Luger at WrestleMania 10 once he realized that Luger wasn't the guy to replace Hulk Hogan. Sometimes a guy just doesn't have the it factor, and there's no denying Luger's success and popularity in WCW, but it didn't click much with the WWE audience despite Vince McMahon trying his damned hardest to push him as the next big thing. Number 10, Cain Velasquez. Oh boy, where do we begin? Look, Cain Velasquez...
Hell no, this one don't count. This one don't... He only had one match. How the fuck... This don't even count, bro. No, I'm not counting this. Okay, I can't count somebody who only had one match in WWE, and it was a terrible match. Hell no.
Will go down as one of the best UFC heavyweights in the company's history. There's no denying his skill as a fighter. Hell, he had some skill as a pro wrestler, as before he made his way into WWE, he was making some moves in Lucha Libre AAA. The problem? WWE didn't want Cain Velasquez, the luchador. They wanted a guy who beat Brock Lesnar for the UFC Heavyweight Championship at UFC 121. Unfortunately, that guy looked like an amateur when he and Lesnar collided at Crown Jewel. But it wasn't just the fact that Velasquez lost his debut match, he didn't have the look of a WWE superstar, and he wasn't known for his charisma like Shawn Michaels. To be honest, it was kind of a mystery why they signed him in the first place. Rumors are that Vince wanted a marquee athlete for Crown Jewel, and apparently Tyson Fury wasn't enough. Velasquez is considered a UFC legend, but he wasn't an international star like McGregor. He could have developed into something special if they sent him down to the Performance Center first, but it felt as if Velasquez's only purpose was to lose to Brock Lesnar. And Gable Steveson. But not everyone can be Kurt Angle, and WWE found this out the hard way with the failure of Gable Steveson. The company touted Gable big time as he made numerous pay-per-view appearances that highlighted him as a special attraction. He was even drafted to the Raw brand in 2021, but he wouldn't make his official debut until July 30th, 2023, and it did not go well. Gable was far from terrible, his suplexes looked solid and his movement could have been worse, but he was no freaking Kurt Angle. The match was a massive misfire with fans and critics, and Gable Steveson wouldn't be seen on TV again.
Well, to be fair, you put him in the ring with fucking, yeah, what's his name? Damn, I forgot his name. He's still on the roster and I forgot his name. Baron Corbin. You put him in a match with Baron Corbin, of course it's not going to be a great debut. You should have put him in the ring with somebody that you could work with.
Clear that Steveson wasn't ready for primetime television, but there's also a question on how much his heart was really into pro wrestling. His outside projects seemed more important than his spot on the WWE roster. All that hype for a wrestler who turned out to be less than average at best. There you have it, folks. 10 of the biggest busts in WWE. Be sure to leave your comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more.
Alrighty, man. That's just gonna about do it for this one, man. WWE's biggest bust, most definitely. I don't agree with the last two. I can't agree with the last two, especially if they only had one match. So, yeah. I mean, but it's still a good list. I would have put some other guys in there, but I guess. The fact that Sin Cara is not on this list is crazy. Sin Cara not being on this list is crazy. Sin Cara was fucking terrible. They overhyped this man. They was hyping him up to be the next big international superstar to come to WWE. This nigga injured himself on in his first ever match. That nigga was trash. 2 packs of ass. Come on, dog. Come on, man. What is we talking about here? Come on, dog.
Hear me and hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
That's crazy. But anyway, so that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I will see you all in the next video. Till then, peace out.